This is a pretty tricky question here. So we want to find out what percent of the Earth's mass, and remember, percent of is essentially equivalent to us saying out of. And out of means divide. So we know we're going to set up a fraction where in the denominator, we're putting the Earth's mass. So whatever comes after percent of is definitely in the denominator. Well, we know the Earth's mass is 6 times 10 to the 24th. And notice it's in kilograms. We know in the numerator, we're going to put the ocean's mass, but that's going to have to also be in kilograms. However, we're given the volume of the Earth's mass in cubic kilometers. So we're going to have to convert that because they then also tell us that the ocean water has a mass of about 1.03 times 10 to the 12th kilograms per cubic kilometers. So notice those two units, cubic kilometers and then kilograms per cubic kilometers. Well, how are we going to make it just kilograms? If you multiply these, the units cancel and you get kilograms. So we know we're going to have to multiply these two quantities. And a nice thing about your graphing calculator is if you choose second and this comma button, it says EE in blue and it'll show up as just E on your calculator, but that means times 10 to the. So I'm going to go ahead and type in 1.34 and I'm going to go to second and this comma key. So that's times 10 to the 9th. So notice just by pressing those buttons, it did times 10 to the for me. And then now I'm going to press times 1.03. Same thing, I'm going to do second comma. So it's times 10 to the 12th, enter, and it gives me the value in kilograms. So I'm going to write it here. You wouldn't necessarily have to do so if you knew where this was leading and could just kind of take it from there. The units cancel. And I know in my calculator, I'm going to take that numerator, divide it by the denominator. Now, it's important to put parentheses. If I don't, I could get an order of operations error. So I'm going to at least put a left parenthesis and do 6, second comma. So that's times 10 to the 24th. I don't have to close the parenthesis. The fact that I did the left parenthesis is sufficient. And then this gives me my answer as a decimal. Well, remember, anytime you're turning a decimal to a percent, you do times 100. And so that's a very small percent. It might seem a little bit strange because of the fact that it's so tiny, but it does make sense because the Earth is massive, right? So if we're talking about what percent the oceans make up of the mass of the Earth, it's going to be a small percent. Now, they want us to round to the nearest hundredth. Well, the hundredths place is right here where the 2 is. And to the right of it is a 3. A 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 tells you to stay, whereas a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 says round up. So we know we're going to keep it at a 2, and your final answer is 0.02 or 0.02.